Hi friend. There's been a long history of holiday-themed slasher flicks. 1972 brought Home for the Holidays, a made-for-TV slasher movie, and Silent Night, Bloody Night, both based around Christmas time. The latter produced by the king of indie film, Lloyd Kaufman. In 1974, the little Canadian film Black Christmas hit theaters, raking in $1.3 million in its home country. In 1978, John Carpenter brought Halloween, the film that started it all by spawning many knockoffs, some good, some bad, and then studios were looking to make horror flicks set during any holiday, almost to absurdity. Then we get to today's movie, My Bloody Valentine. The original came out in 1981, set during both Friday the 13th and Valentine's Day, and almost 30 years later, it was remade as My Bloody Valentine 3D. The original is the story of Valentine's Bluff, and since the death of miners that took place in the local mine after a few miners shirked their duties and attended the Valentine's Day dance, the celebration of the holidays has been effectively banned. Miner Harry Warden, the sole survivor, ended up eating his fellow miners just to survive, and it drove him insane. And then 20 years later, the town brings back the Valentine's Day dance, and the killings begin. Is Harry Warden back for revenge? Directed by George Mahalka, and written by John Baird, starring Paul Kellman, Laurie Hellier, Neil Affleck, and Don Franks. This movie feels like a 70s thriller, but it was released in the 80s. It's cheesy, fun, and it's definitely made in Canada. The accents are very pronounced. Paul Kellman plays TJ, the mayor's son, who's in love with Sarah, played by Laurie Hellier. Their scenes together are pretty sappy, and it kind of reminds me of like a 70s or 80s TV movie. Neil Affleck plays Axel, who's also in love with Sarah, and this sets up the contention between him and TJ. Don Franks plays Chief Newby, and I think he came off really believable as the police chief. To me, he's the standout. He kills it in every scene that he's in. The remake was released in 2009, directed by Patrick Lussier, and written by Todd Farmer and Zane Smith. It stars Jensen Ackles, Jamie King, Kerr Smith, and Tom Atkins. The story is slightly different here. We start out in the town of Harmony with the explosion in the mine. Tom Henninger, played by Jensen Ackles, who is the son of the mine owner, is blamed for the explosion that causes Harry Warden and 4 other miners to be trapped. Again, Warden is the sole survivor and is found and taken to a hospital, where he awakens and kills the workers, and then returns to the mine. A group of teens are having a party in the mine when Harry arrives and continues his killing spree. After Warden is shot, he runs deep into the mine, disappearing. 10 years later, Tom returns home, and the killings begin again. My biggest problem with this is that it's written by Todd Farmer. I've disliked many of his films. He's also written Drive Angry and Jason X, which, in my opinion, is the worst Friday the 13th sequel. And like Jason X, much of the comedy falls flat. Goofy one-liners seem to be thrown in here and there. It has all this cheesy 3D effects of things flying at the screen. It's easy to look past if you've seen a lot of these types of movies. And personally, I kind of have a problem with 3D. While it may be fun for theater going, but once it hits home video, it's pretty worthless. Occasionally, you'll find some home releases with like 3D glasses or something, but with the advent of streaming, it's pretty pointless. Unless you happen to have a pair of 3D glasses just laying around, but I digress. Ackles is pretty good in the lead. This was released around maybe the midpoint of season 4 of Supernatural, but he doesn't slouch here. He brings a great performance. The biggest holdback for me was the writing. Jamie King plays Sarah, and she's kind of the stereotypical woman in a love triangle, and other than that, her character really isn't much else. I mean, she gets some good scenes here and there, but it's really nothing great. For the most part, she just runs around crying or screaming. Kerr Smith is a standout here as Axel. He starts out as the typical jock-type character, but goes on to be the sheriff of the town of Harmony. He's a great co-lead, and I think he's underrated here and has been ever since the first Final Destination. The love triangle is kind of a holdover from the original, but I actually prefer the dynamic here. I think Ackles and Kerr play well off each other. I just wish Jamie King had more to do. Horror veteran Tom Atkins plays ex-Sheriff Burke. Atkins is always a highlight in every film that he's in, and he can make even the simplest of lines sound awesome. I just wish there was more of him in it. I think what I like most about the remake is that it's not a one-to-one remake. It took the original premise of the killer dressed as a miner and the names of the 3 leads, Tom, which is abbreviated to TJ in the original, Axel, and Sarah. I think Patrick Lussier did a fine job here. The movie looks great, cinematographer Brian Pearson did great work, but again, the 3D gimmick kind of gets in the way for me. It feels like it takes away from the cinematography. I didn't see this in theaters in 3D, so I'm not really sure how it looked, but on home video, it looks kind of cheap looking. It also seems to have a different frame rate from standard movies that have 24 frames per second. As opposed to the original, this one does have some really fun kills, But to me, much of the tension is undercut by the silly looking things that they did just to utilize the 3D. I mean, overall, the movie's okay, but story-wise, both suffer from the same pitfalls. When the love story comes into play, it slows down. But if I had to choose between the two, I'd pick the original every time. It's definitely a product of the 80s, but I think it's way more fun, even though the way everything plays out is sillier. And I think the cast is great in both of the films. As far as the ending goes, this one has a better one. The originals was really cheesy and kind of goofy, so I kind of have to gift it to the remake here. It feels like post-Scream, we've rode a wave of very similar feeling horror movies aimed at young adults, and I don't think that really ended until like 2010. I'm not saying any of those movies were bad, they were just kind of the same. And this is part of the reason I have problems with Farmer's horror films. They feel like they're stuck 10 years in the past. So maybe in 2029, if he's still writing in his 60s, he'll finally get to maybe 2010s or 2020s style of horror. To be fair, most of his movies have made their money back, so maybe he's doing something right. Really, I would recommend either of these. They're both fun in their own ways. I just wish they would have dropped the whole 3D gimmick before production on the remake. Which of these do you like better? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.
Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, check out one of these videos.